KUAW listeners, this is Carl Boyd for Wave Your Grades, coming to you every Saturday from 1 until 2 p.m. right here on KUAW. This program features American students striving for excellence in honor of our troops and American veterans, encouraging American students. Please join us every Saturday from 1 until 2 p.m. right here on KUAW.
Now on the air in Kansas City, the Cheryl Underwood Show.
We are proud to be part of the KUAW family.
The Cheryl Underwood Show. Weekdays Monday through Friday at 12 noon. KUAW around the world on KUAW.org.
Todd Tribbett, we gonna be all right here on the Jamal Bakes Show. I'm your brother in Christ, Jamal Bakes. Thank you all so very much for hanging out with me, fam, for another weekend, all right? We've got a big show for you, man. As always, the Rose Show Live will be here with her Faith Move next. And we talked to my man, the Laugh Therapist, later on in the show. We've got music on the way from Doe. We've got Corinne Hawthorne, Keandra Lockett, brand new William McDowell. Cannot wait to share that one with you as well, all right? And a whole lot more. Listen, follow me right now on social media.
Bank of Blue Valley is a proud sponsor of KUAW Radio. At Bank of Blue Valley, we believe that an understanding of financial value sets individuals up for a strong future. Whether you want to talk about checking and savings accounts, review lending alternatives, or discuss starting your own business, we have the right people to listen and advise. Visit us at bankbv.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
This week on Making Contact,
I think election fraud has always been a problem and a concern to various extents. And the main issue, whether you're talking about paper ballots or voting machines, is transparency. Transparency is really the number one thing. I think you have to really have the public involved from beginning to end.
We've got people that are really trying to cheat to win at all costs. Remember, we are talking about power. Power is never going to be given away by anybody. It has to be taken.
In this Women Rising radio program, we featured two election protection activists.
All right, you're listening to KUAW Radio, Kansas City's global community radio station. We don't only bring you videos on Facebook and YouTube, but listen to our audio only, where you'll get shows like Cheryl Underwood and Blues Time in the City.
Mic check, mic check.
You can pick us up at www.kuaw.org or go to the TuneIn app.
Hello. All right. Welcome to Scrilltown. It's your host, Mr. Scrilltown himself. And we have the co-host today, the lovely Gina T.
Hey, so happy to be here. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to come on and co-host a show with you today.
All right, Gina, tell us about we're having a little technical difficulties. You have to.
All right, there it is.
Okay, Gina. Yeah, tell us about what you do.
Well, I am a manager and publicist, and I work with a group called Midwest Saloon. Mm-hmm. And right now, we just released. Sorry, we're having some technical difficulties, but all right. All right, we're almost there. But I'll get right back to you on that.
Yeah, that little squeaky noise.
All
right. See,
okay.
You can still hear that.
Did that help? I don't hear it anymore.
Okay. Oh, that's.
Yeah. How about that? Nope.
We having bloopers right now. This is the blooper show.
Yeah. All right. Shoot. Well, anyway, I'm going to talk about Midwest Saloon real quick. So I am a manager and publicist for Midwest Saloon, and it is a hip hop and rap group that's local in Kansas City. One guy's from St. Louis, which Mr. Ryan Dimitri's from.
Right.
Then his name is Merlot, and he's the mellow cat of the group. And then we have Nastay. He's from Kansas City, and they met in college. So they've got some bangers out right now. We just released a EP. It's called Mixed Emotions.
Okay.
There's a song called Breathe right now that we're pushing to different markets on the radio and press, and it was filmed, their video was filmed down in the plaza during the Black Lives Matter movement.
Okay.
It's a really great song. They also have some club hits and that we're pushing, and they're just about to release another, come in the next 2 months, EP, and that one's called Malice in Wonderland.
Okay.
And
like Alice in
yeah,
Wonderland.
it's gonna be great. And then working on another album for the first quarter of the year. So we're doing a massive push. And during COVID, it's really hard to get shows and book shows right now. So
Right, absolutely.
we're just focusing on distribution and media push, but they're great. So please go to Midwest Saloon on Facebook, it's just Midwest Saloon at Midwest Saloon and Instagram. You can find them on Apple Music. You can find them on every streaming platform, anywhere. They're out there.
See, yeah, I've listened to these guys. They're highly talented. Gina has been in the business for a very long time. Can you tell us a little bit about what you used to do?
Sure,
back in the
yeah. So I started off as an actress, and I went to college for theater performance. Went to school in London, studied theater, then moved to New York right after college. And my first job, I couldn't get waiting at tables. So my friend was a publicist at Miramax Films and brought me on as an assistant. So I worked in publicity for a long time, in film primarily. But then a girlfriend of mine is a big publicist. Shout out to Fiona Bloom at the Bloom Effect. She's amazing. But she brought me into kind of the music scene in New York. My father was a musician, so I've just always been in entertainment, always loved music, always had a background with it, and so that's kind of how the transition into music publicity came for me. And then I ran into my guys at Midwest Saloon, and they're just like, you need to work with us. You need to be our manager. And I'm like, I would love to. So we're partnering her out, and going to get them on the road and get them some notoriety. And you know, they have a lot of club bangers. They've got a lot of really great things. But that's a little bit of my history.
All right. Well, like I said, we'll talk more about Gina a little later. But right now, looks like we got
now Mike Flynn, and
is that,
there are others still
is
to
that,
come. Steve Bannon probably will be one of those. The only one that probably will not happen is Mike Cohen.
Hold on one second, Ryan.
Attorney.
Right, because he wrote a book.
And he will sing for anybody that asks.
Yep.
He will tell the.
So I'm trying to get on here too. Sorry about all that.
All right, Ryan, you there, man? I see you. Can you see us? Oh, you can't hear us. Okay. Can you hear us now? Can't hear nothing.
Oh damn.
Can you hear us now, Mike? I mean, Ryan? No. All right, give us 1 second. I know that's first. Well, I can't see him now.
Well, I hope I'm not bad. Hey, I love this.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Looked like he went off. Oh, he came back. Brian, can you hear us? Yeah, it was echoing. Okay, I see you. Can you hear us? Still can't hear us.
All right, we're gonna get this.
Yeah, we're gonna get it figured out, y'all.
You could
It's
go
always
figure. I could
technical
produce.
difficulties.
So just a little more history is I produced music videos in the past, and one of my artists went to number 25 on BET, Jay Anusun, and he just won a Grammy, and he also won an Emmy for producing right now what's on Netflix, the Apollo series on Netflix. So
Really?
yeah, so I mean I've kind of been in it for a while. So
And what's his name?
Anus. Ooh, that sounded good. But Midwest Saloon is my focus right now, and that's where we're going with that. So
Can you hear us, Ryan? No.
hey, Ryan.
You want to go to break? Let's go to break.
Hey, I'm gonna chat him real quick.
All right. Got echoes. We got. I know.
I'm wondering.
Testing.
That is no. He keeps hanging up, but it's not on his end. That's something going on here, but it's not showing up. I'm seeing
like spooky.
I see. I don't see his conversation now.
Okay.
What's going on?
Oh, there it is. Okay, I hear you now. Yeah. What was it?
Can he hear you?
Yeah. Can you hear us?
I hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, loud and clear. That's crazy. Yeah, we was having some major technical difficulties, man. Major.
I was like, wait a minute, what's going on? Scrilltown been waiting on this interview for months.
For a minute, yeah, that's what I'm like.
I know. Listen, I respect that though, because he was like, I want this interview. I was like, okay, we were talking about this, I think back in September or August sometime.
Yeah, for sure. I gotta get people on here. Okay.
Yeah, man. I was busy over that time. I had just moved, man. So I was determined to give you this interview though, for sure.
Hey, man, we really appreciate it. Got my co-host right here, Gina T.
Hi, Ryan.
What's up, Gina T?
Hey.
She actually has an artist that's from St. Louis that she's managing, part of a group called Midwest Saloon. So yeah.
I clicked on the link in her bio. Check them out.
Thank you. Yeah, Merlot is from St. Louis, so he's gonna go up there. We're gonna go up there this year and shoot a video. So soon as this COVID stuff passes, so maybe we can meet up.
Yeah.
Definitely, let's do it.
All right.
So tell the listeners and the viewers about the ghost, about Ryan Dimitri, man. You know, I know what's going on with him. You know, she know what's going on. But tell the viewers about Ryan Dimitri, man.
Oh man, that's such a broad statement, man. That's like we'll be here for like 3 parts. Man.
Oh man.
But listen, but in a nutshell, you know, I go by the name of Ghost. Well, I used to go by the name of Ghost. I'm trying to get away from that. Originally from St. Louis, Grammy Award-winning music producer. I've worked with tons of artists from Nelly to Lil Wayne to Dej Loaf to Monica to Usher to all of it. You know what I'm saying? And here you are 20 years later and still joining her.
Doing your thing.
So, who is your favorite artist to work with so far?
My favorite.
I know that's also broad. Oh yeah.
Yeah, DMX.
He's my favorite one to work out too, outside of Midwest.
Listen, his energy is like really that in the studio. You know what I'm saying? And Yeah, really. But what made it? I think why I really like him, working with him, especially because we had, there was some downtime in the session, and we had a chance to talk. And he's really a wise person, man, and he's a very subtle person away from the music. And one of the conversations we really had that I admired, that he told me about this book that he always carries with him. It's called God's Promises. And he was just sitting down and just schooling me on a few things. And I was like, wow, the world doesn't see this side of him. Now the world is starting to see that. But back then he was always that, man.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah, see, I looked at that documentary, that Rough Riders documentary, and one of the things that took me back is when they said, I think it was Cohen from Def Jam came in.
Yeah, Lior.
Lior, came in and watched him freestyle for like 30 minutes. And he was like, walked out the studio and was like, we're signing him. Like, so I know he's a powerful MC, man.
Yeah, he's in this business, you need a lot of artists that have, they have good talent, they have the performance, and it's kind of either one or the other.
Right.
With him, it's like you get the total package with him, and it's authentically him. It's not a gimmick. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I really liked about really working with him, man. And I like working with the other artists too. I love working with Monica because Monica's like, that's the sister right there. That's the sister right there. That's the person, you sit down with her and you have, genuine conversation.
Right. So
how'd you
get started, in the industry? Like, how'd you get that in, you know what I'm saying?
For me, to begin with, growing up, for me, music was a part of my life. My parents, they were music directors in church, so both of them are active.
Okay.
Music, like I said, music always surrounded me, and just throughout the years, as I got more familiar with how music works and how equipment works inside of music, then I started just networking with people in St. Louis, man, and that's how I connected with my ex-production partner, Bam. And
okay.
From there, and from there we started working up at Saints, and then we were up at Saints, and the Lunatics were there, and we were working with them, and then working with their manager Tony Davis at the time. It was just like everything just started happening.
Right.
And then that first, I would say like that first project I produced came from an artist out of St. Louis. His name was G. Ridge, and he had this album called Game Immortalized. I think it was maybe around like 96, 97.
Okay.
And so he was from Castle Point. So during that time, I was still on my independent grind during that time, and maybe like 2 years later, like 2000, that's when we started working with Toya and Did I Do. And from there, it just took off, man.
Wow.
That was a great song too.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
So I do.
I would sing, but that's why I'm on the business side of this. There's a whole reason. So with DMX, and then you built like magic with the St. Lunatics and Nelly, right? So outside of that, the projects that you're working on right now, do you feel like you've captured magic in a bottle with an artist that you're working with right now?
I would say I'm in the midst of doing that, and this go round for me, because there's a lot of things I'm working on right now. Because for so long I've been known as the R&B rap hip hop producer, and so something unique kind of fell into my hands recently. I don't know if you guys follow that show, The Voice.
Yes.
Well, there was an artist from Alabama. His name is Kirk J. He was on season 15.
Okay.
So he's a country artist. He's a country music artist. I've always wanted to do country music.
Man, you and me both, bro.
I always wanted to, but that's such a it's just being real. It's such a hard field to get into. Being black, it just really is. And with him being a black artist doing country music, and he does it so authentically. Like his voice is magic.
Right.
And so we've been working lately. And to me, that really pulled me, and it's pulling me from the space of R&B and hip hop, and it's pulling me into the space of being a musician. What I love. It's pulling me into the space to where I get the chance to produce all over again.
Right.
Because initially when I came into music, when I started producing, again, it was rap. It was more rap driven. So this time it pulls me into a circle where I get to sit down and say, okay, hey, let me figure out this arrangement. Let me really sit down with the artist and talk to him and see what he's thinking and how can we shape this sound to be this in country music. So, to answer your question, get back to what you're saying, I definitely think with him, I found that magic. And we're still discovering it.
Right. Well, do you think hip hop and rap is taking a change again, like in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, and when you made those huge hits that shaped my world? I mean, Monica, man, so gone. I just like see it. There's a reason why I don't sing it, but like Monica, that's what turned me on to then discovering more about her, is that song. So, but it seems like every few years that music changes, and now there's a lot of blend with different genres into hip hop and rap. Do you find that, or do you just find that music is music and it's becoming? You know what I'm trying to say?
My honest opinion is, music. I feel like music is at this pinnacle right now. It's at this weird place because you have all these artists, right? And I'm glad you brought up the music from back then, because we had such a variety back then.
Right.
Nobody sounded like the next artist.
Right.
We're at a pinnacle now where you have tons of artists, but everybody wants to sound like the artist that's out instead of exploring their own uniqueness.
Absolutely.
Now I get it in terms of rap music. I understand it to a degree. I'm like, okay, that's the sound that's in. But then once you cross that threshold of that's the sound that's in, what's the next thing that sets you apart?
Right.
So I think that's the difference between back then and now. Do I think rap music has advanced? Of course it has, because it's crossed all leaps and bounds that even back then we hadn't crossed yet.
Right.
Do I think it's introduced some maybe negative habits? Yes.
Yeah.
Because I think now we're seeing more rappers dying
yeah.
than we've ever seen in the culture before.
Yeah.
You know, and they're young, they're dying in like their teens, you know, so and I think music is at this pinnacle. It's at a weird place.
Yeah. It most definitely is. And you know, it sucks because like you said, back in the 90s, late 90s, we had Pac, rest in peace, Biggie, you know, that had their feuds and stuff like that. But now it's just happening way too much. You know what I'm saying? It's
like, you know, it's like you rap music used to be a thing. I mean, don't get me wrong, we've always had rap beats.
Right.
We've always had that.
Right.
That's what made rap music, you know, between telling the stories of what our community was like and the beefs, we all tuned into it.
Right.
The problem now is a lot of these beefs are starting over minor things that have no relevancy.
Absolutely.
You know, a lot of these deaths are happening over either drug overdoses or it's some social media beef that just got out of hand, or who has the biggest pocket or the biggest wallet.
Right.
You know
well, like XXX, he was going to buy a motorcycle or a car, right? And
exactly.
Somebody was jealous.
Exactly. So it's and that's kind of thing that, you know, rappers, you know, I feel like being a rapper, you have to come into this game now and say, you know what, I need to have an insurance policy.
Yeah, but it's true. It's funny. I mean, it's not really funny, but it's kind of like, I mean, jokingly, that's the truth. That's absolutely the truth.
It is. You know, it really is, because, you know, music, like I said again, the culture of rap music has definitely advanced.
Yeah.
I just think it brought some nasty demons with it.
Yeah, man.
It's horrible. So how do you feel about female rappers right now, since we're on rap, and and I think you just gave some business people an idea of selling life insurance, by the way. But when you've got Megan Thee Stallion,
Right.
I'm serious. It's a new business coming out. I might offer it. I don't know, but just kidding. But female rappers and talking about the culture and protecting, you know, urban culture, urban music that has crossed over all genres and all generations and all nationalities and all. It's just a global pop music now.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
rap and hip hop's pop music, but then you groom all these young children, these girls with WAP, you know, the WAP song, and then it becomes a norm that you just wonder, like, can we get back to some R&B? You know,
you know what? I look at, you know, to answer the first half of your question, what I think about the female rappers, I think it's their time.
Yeah.
It's
You
most
know,
definitely their
I
time.
look at it's definitely a time. You know, I look at it from a number of angles with female rappers. Because just being in the music industry, they really catch a lot of hell.
Yeah.
You know, they catch it the worst. You know, whether it's the harassment or whatever, you know, they catch it. And for them to finally have come to a point to where they can showcase their talent and really go far with it,
Right.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
I think to the flip side of it, though, I think there's an evolution that has to happen because, like you said, you know, they're influencing a culture, you know, and we understand we got to have the club records. We got to have the records that make you want to shake your booty and all that good stuff. You understand it? But I think the evolution happens as the evolution of the message changes as the artist grows and becomes mature, you know.
True.
I think they go through, I mean, you look at Cardi B. When Cardi B came into music, she had this, she really came in like real rough.
Came in hot, yeah.
She set a bar.
But then right. She did, she set a very high bar. But then over time, as she developed as an artist, she started saying, you know what? I know I started here, but now I'm going here. Now you see her involved in politics, and she's being so vocal about things because she's had a chance to grow into it. And she's really trying to shift. One thing I can say about her, she's really trying to shift the culture and the nature of things for women in terms of rap music and just in music business, period.
Yeah.
So I think it comes down to, you know, how the artist looks at their career and understand the responsibility that they have as an artist.
Okay.
To really say, in order for me to protect this culture, I might need to start talking about some other things. You mentioned Tupac. Tupac, again, when he came into the game, it was real rough. But then as he started getting older, he said, hey, let me put you on some real game. Let me talk to you about some life issues. And I think that's the same. I think that's the same thing with any artist. It comes down to a choice. How do you want to impact this game? How do you want to impact the culture of hip hop and rap music and R&B? It really comes down to that question.
So, as a Grammy-winning, award-winning producer and worked with like the top artists in the game, what advice would you give to young upcoming artists, like as they're structuring their career and their music and their choices? What would like the top 3 tips you would give them?
Oh boy, that's hard. That is really hard. I would say the top 3 tips. This one being the most important. Don't forget who you are.
Absolutely.
Because I think so many times now, because of social media, our human nature has been taught to, in order to get attention, we have to sell a gimmick.
Right.
And we have to stick with the gimmick. And one thing, and you know this in music business, is that you have to stick with the gimmick to keep those fans coming.
Yep.
And eventually the real you gets tired of the gimmick, but the gimmick got to keep going. And unfortunately, we've seen a lot of people, you know, lives get cut short because of that gimmick. So I would tell artists starting off, don't forget who you are at the core of who you are. Secondly, learn your business. Learn it beyond the aspect of just publishing and when your check coming from your ASCAP and all that stuff. Like, learn it beyond that spectrum.
Right.
You know, learn why we're really having the argument of owning your masters besides the spectrum of you just want to have ownership. There's more to it. Really learn this business, because even though it's the fundamental, well, let me take that back. Even though it's advancing fast, the fundamentals are still the same.
Still the same.
You know, and probably my third thing really to these artists in general across the board is keep in mind your influence in the generation.
That's
so
powerful
what you say,
right there.
You know, what you say, what you do is going to be the seed for the generation that's listening to you and the generation up under that. So know that your talent, with your talent and your gift, there comes a responsibility. There is a weight in your talent. There's a heaviness that comes with your talent. And if you don't understand it, and if you're not ready for that, then I would suggest finding another line of work.
Some great advice.
Well,
that's
see,
some gems.
And here's the deal with that. Like, so every Sunday, I do a little segment on Facebook called Scrillology 101, where I kind of educate the younger generation of rappers and producers on the business and what the do's and don'ts. What you're saying goes back to what anybody that was in the industry 20 years ago, which you were, and I was, and she was, will let you know that you had to know the business to succeed, because none of the guys that didn't know the business, they're not around anymore. You could only use your money so far. You could only use your talent so far. You had to know that business.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think that's nowadays the lifespan of an artist, man, is so short now compared to back then. You know, you don't see a lot of artists within the last 10 years. A lot of artists that we thought were going to be here 10 years ago, they're not even here anymore.
They're not here.
And a lot of them think that money lasts forever, and they can just say, well, the label going to do this, or, you know, I could bounce back. Music is it's a train that never stops. So the minute you accidentally step off that train, it's a hell of a job to try to catch up and try to get back on board and get things running again. So you have to understand how the business works, the fundamentals of business. And I will say this, there is nothing wrong with taking a business class to learn how business works.
There you go. There you go.
I want to say that to every artist out here. Do not be ashamed to go to school to learn business, because at the end of the day, you want to be able to navigate your career in your own hands. You don't want to have to pay somebody to help you navigate something that you could basically navigate on your own, especially with all the technology we have now. Knowledge is free now.
Educate yourself. You know, when I was younger, about 15, I started picking up the Source magazine, and in the very back, and y'all remember, they had little ideas and little strategies and and I was reading. That's all you had to do was read. It was free. It's free to read.
Yeah.
You know, and that what made me the difference between a lot of the people I grew up around, because they didn't know the business. So they were just putting out music. You know what I'm saying? And,
and that's the thing that I still see happening now, is that I see people just throwing music out. And they're saying, well, I'm gonna make it. I gotta keep throwing it out. Let me tell you something. You can throw as many songs that you want to throw out until Kingdom comes, and you still not make it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's your level of business and how you understand business that'll take you to the next level. You know, it's not just gonna be your gimmick or your image or how great your music sounds. This is why record labels, if you know, they have marketing departments. They have departments that sit and say, hey, this is how we need to roll this project out. There's a business behind the scenes that a lot of people don't see. But if you understand how those mechanics work in your career, you can go forward. But you need to learn it though.
So who do you think right now is mastering that right? Like all of the areas that we just touched on, would it be a group like Earth Gang, or would it be like the ASAP Rockies and Fergs, or would it be like who do you think is kind of mastered that in current music, in rap and hip hop?
Oh wow. I think I don't know who's mastered it yet. No, right. I'll take that back. And I'm gonna name this person. I know people are gonna be like, what? Why'd you say that? But I think who's mastered it exceptionally well is Wiz Khalifa.
Mm. Okay.
The reason the reason why I say this, Wiz has always had this. He's had this thinking where he's like, okay, I know my music appeals on this side of the fence, but it also appeals on this side of the fence. Mm-hmm. But I also know how to appeal to the broader audience in terms of business. Mm-hmm. That's why Wiz always has music in video games. That's why Wiz can have a movie. That's why Wiz can turn around and do a Mike Tyson, event. Yeah. Wiz can turn around and you'll see him in a commercial. Wiz is all over the place, mm-hmm. but he's all over the place from a business sense. So when I look at that, I think he's mastered that part exceptionally well. Yeah. When you look at the new generation of rappers, I think they're getting there. Mm-hmm. I look at people like the Baby, Lil Baby, and even 21 Savage, who I'm really starting to get into. Mm-hmm. I see them start to take this different trajectory in their music now and in business and just their overall thinking. I think another group that mastered it and they got quiet was the Migos.
Yeah, absolutely. The Migos.
They mastered it. Like they created this euphoria of their own world, and then all of a sudden, same thing. You saw them with the label with QC. Then all of a sudden they turn around. Now you see them in the Sprite commercial. Now you see them doing the soundtracks for Fast and Furious. Then then you see Quavo doing this thing. Like they mastered so many parts of it. Then they got quiet. Now the reason they got quiet, maybe they just have a lot of money and they chilling down there, fine. Right. But I think when we talk about the issue of who mastered it, I think we have to look beyond the scope of just them having #1 hit records, mm-hmm. and we have to look at the business side of things because eventually those #1 hits will stop.
Yeah. Yep. It's a strategy.
You know what I'm saying? It is. Mm-hmm. It's, how do you, once you have the crowd's momentum, how do you piggyback off of that to go to the next level? How do you do the Jay-Z move where you go from rapping to being the president of Def Jam, then turn around and just, you go to this whole nother stratosphere?
Yeah. That's who I would say in our generation, he kind of set the bar for that business-minded switch over was Jay-Z. Because, he went in as a hustler, then he went into his music, then he went into his fashion, and it kind of just went from there. Now he's a mogul, So
but you have to. With Jay, that's different because there's so many moving pieces to that part. You know what I'm saying? Like to his success, there was so many moving pieces. Like, think about it. There were no such thing as downloads back then. We hadn't even got into the whole digital music yet.
Mixtapes on the streets.
Yeah. Right. So they were seeing every dollar on the dollar. Yeah. So everything was different versus now these artists putting out albums and it's like, man, you only making $1,500 off of 1 million streams. How does that equate? Like, what does that equate to?
That's crazy, man.
So you have to, and I'm just throwing that number out there. In all seriousness, as artists, whether you're in rap music, country music, pop music, whatever, you have to come into it thinking, how am I going to turn this into a business? How can I scale my talent into other avenues, whether it be clothes, makeup, whatever.
Liquor, something.
You you really have to. I think it's I think it's hard for artists now to really get out there more than anything because they have to really come in already with their blueprint laid out for the next 5 to 10 years, really.
Yep. So SoundCloud rappers, do you think that's part of the oversaturation of having a harder time as an artist, kind of getting recognized at first, heard, getting out there, or do you think it's a good thing?
I think SoundCloud, if you understand how all of these platforms, these digital platforms, are their own world. And if you know how to use it, it's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely a good thing. It's kind of like you can really, if you understand marketing and business, you can really go platinum on SoundCloud if you know how to do it. You know, but you would have to sit down and really see the logic behind it.
Right.
To the flip side of it, does it open up this massive floodgate of a trillion artists that you have to cipher through and go through to see who? It makes it hard. It makes it hard. You know, again, I'll go back to early 2000s. We had to walk to labels and catch flights and go to labels so we could be heard. We had to go to the DJs, talk to the DJs, talk to the program directors, had to sit down and get ads for the record. Nowadays, you just put it out there, it gets lost in this oblivion of music, and you just have to keep your fingers crossed.
When I produced my music video for this artist on New Sun, I had to fly out to New York. I had to sit down and beg for a meeting with BETJ. I had to, you know, and then I had to go to their offices.
And look, and sometimes you'll fly out there. I don't know what just happened.
Excuse me.
I think my device getting ready to down us.
No. You can't leave us yet, Ryan.
No, but to tap into what you were saying is that even flying out there, sometimes you still didn't get the meeting. So that was like real disrespectful back then.
Totally.
You be like, wait, I just took my last $400 to get out here. I'm mad. You finna see me.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So you know, but I think the lesson in that was persistence, and you knew, hey, I'm gonna shake hands with somebody.
Right.
Like you knew that. Now, when it happened, you didn't know. Versus now, it's really a needle in a haystack, and it's kind of hard. It's really hard to weed out the good artists from the okay artists and the exceptional artists. It's so hard.
I devote about an hour of my time listening to SoundCloud rappers just because you just never know.
Yeah, you just
never know.
Yeah,
you just never know.
You really have to take a day and sit there and say, okay, I'm just gonna look for this kind of artist that I'm looking for, and then tomorrow I'll look for something different.
So I have a question. As a producer, and Merlot, one of the artists in Midwest Saloon, he is making his own beats now, and this whole next album is not purchase beats from producers. They are completely creating their own sound. So as a producer in the SoundCloud world, how does it make your job harder when you could buy a beat from anybody for a couple $100 or whatever whatever their fee is?
I'm glad you see it there. Let me scoot up. I'm finna school you producers and songwriters.
That's what they need to hear, though. Really, producers. I hope y'all tapping in, man. I hope y'all tapping in. What's up, Mike, man?
So let me tell y'all something. So selling. Here's the thing. I know there's a lot of producers that selling beats for $25 and $30 and $100, and I get it. You're getting your money. I totally get it. You're like, man, this easy money is fast. On the surface, it makes sense. In the long run, you slut your catalog out very fast. There's no equity. There's no equity value in it because everybody has the same beats now.
Yep.
So if you want to go do a publishing deal, you really couldn't do one because it's like all these beats are all over the place. You couldn't place a record on any artist because another 10 artists have the same beat. And here's the thing about it. You're looking at the small money. And if you understand business, I know new producers who have come in and said, you know what, I'm going to start working with a lot of songwriters that were connected to projects.
Yeah.
And what they did, they waited. They said, I'm going to have to grind it out and waited. In their first placement, they were getting 10 grand a track. Are there record labels that are still paying that 10 grand and that 5,000? Of course it is. So it comes down to, do you believe your catalog is valuable? Because selling your beats for cheap, I get it. It makes sense. Does it hurt the major guys like us? Sometimes it does. Sometimes, only on the independent level.
Yeah.
But me having the credibility that I have, not so much.
Right.
But for the new guys coming in that are saying, hey, I really want to work with these labels and do this and this. Yeah, their task is very hard because what they're doing, you have guys that are selling product for cheap.
They're cheap.
It doesn't mean that it's great product.
Nope.
But you think about it, if you're a new artist and you only have $100, are you gonna go to the $1,000 producer or the guy that's selling beats for $20?
Right.
True.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So with that, like I said, I understand it. But then at the end of the day, yeah, you buying this $20 beat, but 20 other people have that same beat. So so the only one who's really winning is the producer that's selling the beat, and the artist is losing in the end.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the producer is losing because it's like, man, I want to sell this beat to Lil Baby, but I didn't give it out to 30 other people. So dang, now what?
So buying the master is the important part, but the producer always owns the master, right?
Well, see, and here's the thing, like, so I had a situation with a marketing team where they was doing a project with a high-profile artist, and they wanted me to go out and find producers. I tell you, half of the people that I talked to was like, will they accept a beat that's been on BeatStars? And I was like, nope. Because it's already been used, exactly what you just said.
It's already been used.
Yeah, you can't do nothing with it.
Yeah, and see, and that's the thing about it is, I want producers to understand. It's like, hey, don't be afraid to wait for that big check. It's people. I get it. Have your stash that you say, okay, these are gonna be my C-list beats or my D-list beats over that I just sell like that.
Right.
But your good stuff, like don't just throw your whole catalog at the hyenas.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
Don't do that. Because
right.
I'm a firm believer. If you have a good catalog and you really have that sauce, the wolves will smell it. The bigger wolves will smell it.
Mm-hmm.
It just comes down to how are you marketing your product. All things come down to marketing in today's world.
Oh my
how do
God.
you market and display your product? Do you display your product to where, hey, somebody says, yo, I need to work with him? Or do you display your product in a manner to where it looks like you're unorganized?
Right.
Yeah, I have a young artist. He goes by KUAW, and he's on SoundCloud. And when you look for beats, and he's looking for beats, he doesn't have the money to pay $10,000 for. I don't know what your fee is, but for young and up and coming artists and new artists, do you take on? How do you look for an artist, and can an artist find you and pitch their music to you and their budget to you, and how do you negotiate fees and costs?
I mean that's like for me that's real simple because I've never been that producer to say, okay, just because I made it here, I don't work with the guys that's trying to get here.
Right.
So I've never been that producer. I always just tell people, just reach out to me, let me see what you have. And if I believe in it and I feel like it's worth my time, then I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll jump on it.
How would people get to you? Like reach out to you?
Now I'm gonna tell you.
See, there's the rub, right? There it is.
No.
Why don't you give your social security while I'm at it? Sorry.
Listen, no, but seriously, a lot of people just reach out through me, just through regular social media,
right.
Because a lot of times I try to check all my messages because sometimes there's so many messages I don't get to see everybody. So I get some nasty comments from people be like, you ain't seen my message. I'm like, yo, there's like 6,000 other messages in here. Give me a second.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But people can always reach out to me, on my social media, and I always respond back. I always respond back and I say, okay, hey, what's your budget looking like? Say, well, I got a few hundred. No, listen, no shade thrown at all. No shade thrown at all. But a lot of times I'll say, let me hear what you got, and then based off that. Based off that, if it sounds ready, like, okay, I can do something with this, then I'll take it on.
Yeah. See, that's a real dude right there. You're a real dude.
Yeah,
man.
I take it on. It's, a lot of times I've heard, artists have come to me and say, I want to work with you, and they'll send me their music, and I'll be like, nah, you ain't ready, bro.
Right.
You need some more time. You need some more time in the incubator. There have been artists who come to me and say, yo, I only have like $500, but I want you to hear this song I have. And when they send it to me, I'll be like, ooh, you got that juice. I'm like, yeah, come on, let's work.
Let's get
Come on, let's work. So that's the thing. So
then do you take those clients on as like grooming, like Timberland did Missy and they grew up together? Do you look at those clients that don't really necessarily have the money but that have that juice, like you say, like do you kind of mold them and take them? Are you that kind of a producer?
A lot. I'll break that process down to you. I'm the kind of producer, I never force anybody into any situation.
Right.
Because I don't believe in doing that. So I never come with the hand around the throat. But what I do is, once we start working, I kind of sit back and watch how you move. And then that lets me know, do I need to take you up under my wing? Because a lot of times what I've ran into new artists who have come to me and say, hey, I want to do this. I'm ready to do music, and music is my life and it's my passion. And I've heard it on both ends. And okay, we start working, then all of a sudden they start getting lazy.
Yep. Had a conversation earlier today about that.
Yeah. And the artists come in, yeah, I'm ready. But then once I break the game down to them and say, hey, you got to do some work. You have to lay the brickwork first.
Yeah,
they're like, man, okay. Oh, I got this to do. I'm tired. I'm like, nah, I can't. And that's an easy way to lose me. I just disconnect.
Right.
I instantly disconnect because I say, hey, it really takes work. It takes work, wisdom, and a work ethic to really get to where you're trying to go in music, man.
Plus, you know what you did. I say, you know what you did to get there. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's only fair if I went out and I grinded, you got to grind too.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? And it's not, and I think a lot of times, in this business, we have artists that are so sensitive. Like we deal with a sensitive culture now.
Yes, we do.
They're so sensitive. So when you try to give constructive criticism, you instantly get this backlash. But what you have to realize, the flip side of this thing, even if you go to a record label and they give you a big check, the record label gonna tell you what to do, or your money gonna stop.
Yep.
So you either listen to somebody who doesn't have you in a hold, in a chokehold, and you say, oh, hey, let me take this advice now. Or you go sign to somebody who say, hey, I'm going to give you this $100,000 check, and you were instantly in debt.
See? It's a loan, guys. It's a loan.
Like that, understand that advance money that labels give you, that is a loan, like a bank
Didn't
loan.
Megan Thee Stallion just go through that too?
Yes. So and exactly how she said it is really what it is.
It's a loan.
It's a loan, y'all. Y'all better figure it out.
Listen, that loan has interest attached to it. So if you don't want to pay that loan or that interest, stay away from that and just put in the work and just grind it out.
Grind it out, man. Grind hard to go home.
Most
throw that in
most
there.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate your time, man.
Can I ask him one more question?
Go ahead.
So, what do you want to promote right now that you're working on? I'm curious. I want to hear another banger from you. I want to hear like outside of your country artist.
Everybody wants to hear bangers.
Well, no, I want to hear. Actually, I dilemma. Give me another. Give me another dilemma. Give me another Monica. Give me another. I want to hear that.
It's funny. It's funny you say that because since this past, I would say maybe year or two, I was quiet on music for a reason, because I wanted to just sit back and just see what was happening in music and just see what's what. So everybody knows that I have Ghost Music, and I love what Ghost Music was because it gave me a chance to really work with some amazing artists like Duels, Marley J, Seven, and work with some amazing producers like Kevo on the drums and Rocky Blackbird, and even my protege now, Beats Knocking. It gave me a great chance to really work with these guys. Now these guys are from St. Louis, believe it or not.
Wow.
And so, yeah, a lot of them are. Like
a lot of talent.
See, what people don't realize is that I really took a lot of these guys and I just say, yo, come up to the house. They used to come up to my house and we just used to battle each other. And in the middle of battling, you know, and it was fun.
It was fun, yeah.
I was like, man, these young cats really trying to get me for real. You know what I'm saying? But they also end up learning some things. And so what I did, I kind of watched them just evolve into what they're doing. And they're doing some amazing things now. But I think this go round for me, because I'm contemplating. I'm gonna throw this out here to all you listeners and artists and producers and songwriters. I'm contemplating starting a new label.
Ooh, okay.
Contemplating. Now, here's the thing.
So Kansas City artists, you got travel across the
So here's the thing. So I'm gonna tell you what I'm looking for. I don't know when it comes to the rap end of it. I want to bring back that Outkast kind of vibe. I want to bring back rappers from that, with that. Not looking for that exact style. Cause I'm not looking for a clone.
Right.
But I want to bring back, you know, the TLCs. I want to bring back, you know, the 702s. Like I said, the Outkast, the Dungeon Families, the earlier TIs. I want to bring that music back. I want to, you know, I'm looking for those. I want some country artists and I want some R&B artists like the Monicas and the Brandies. You know, I want an R&B group like the Drew Hills. You know, that's what I'm contemplating this next move to be. So if you're out there, look, hit me up on Ryan Dimitri Enterprises on my Instagram, because I'm there all the time and I'll respond back to you. Now from there we'll communicate and do what we're gonna do. But that's kind of my next move, what I'm thinking right now. It's in the works.
Y'all better get this work. Y'all better get it.
I wish you all the success with that.
Most definitely.
Yes, because I'm really looking. I think it's time. I think it's time for a new shift in music. It's some good energy. And I want to put some good music out there. You know, I want to put some music that people. It's like when you throw on a. I forgot what record I was listening to a few weeks ago, but it was LL Cool J's "Round the Way Girl."
That's one of my favorite songs.
I was like, I said, man, that vibe, it just.
I had a red boombox sitting on top of my BMX when I was in middle school, listening to that whole LL Cool J.
So that's kind of like I want to bring some fun energy. I want to bring some love to the music world. Like that's what I'm looking for.
My artist just did a song about it's called Nappy Woman. They're doing some music right now that's just like female empowerment, you know. They're doing some really positive stuff, and that's the direction music needs to go.
That's where it needs to go. That's why I came back in it too. You know what I'm saying? I've been gone for 13 years, and, you know, I heard the change and the shift, and I ain't got nothing against that, but we need to bring that back. You know what I'm saying? Like
I'm
the
so
40
excited.
And that's exactly,
I'm so excited.
Exactly what I want to do, because I feel like it's so important to. Right now, the world needs to dance, man. Yeah. They need to have fun right now. It's so much music has become so aggressive.
Yeah.
And it's kind of got stuck in this. And I get everybody's on the vibe and all of that, and that's good. But I think right now we need a break.
Yeah, we
need a break. We need to feel good.
Reset button.
Yeah,
most definitely.
Exactly. Hit that reset button. So that's definitely so. Like I said, you know, to all the producers, songwriters, you know, I'm looking for you. You know, send me your demos and whatever you have, your links, whatever. I'll check it out.
That's what's up, man. Like I said, hey, we really, truly appreciate your time. You know what I'm saying? It's an honor to have you on the... Hey,
look,
man.
I told you I was going to give you an interview,
did.
man. I told you I was going to give you an interview. I know you probably... Look, and you probably thought I wasn't going to give you an interview because you was like, man, he making me wait like 5 whole months. I was like, no, I'm really like that busy.
I know you are, man. I know it.
Like, I was determined to give it to you. I said, I'm going to give him this interview, man. So, yeah, I'm glad you guys had me on.
Oh, thank you so much. I've really enjoyed talking to you, and thanks for all the knowledge you're dropping on these new artists, too. Yeah, I hope you all absorb it.
Yeah, y'all got to listen, man. Well, yeah, we don't want to take up too much more of your time, man, but we want to thank you for coming on as a guest. If you want to give any shout-outs, man, you know, you can.
Yo, I just want to say keep grinding. Keep believing, don't stop, no matter how long it takes. Surround yourself with good people. Stay away from the BS. Learn your business. And most of all, keep God first in everything you do. He'll direct your path.
That's what's up, man. You
Thank
got any last words?
I am just so grateful for this opportunity. Thank you so much for allowing me to come on and represent Midwest Saloon and my business, and to meet you, Ryan. It's been a pleasure, and I hope to connect with you when we make it up to St. Louis.
Oh, let's definitely connect. You know,
Yeah.
you got my contact.
I do.
Hit me up.
I do. I will. I will. Thank you.
Well, yeah.
All right.
We gonna holler at you, Ryan, man. But thanks again, bro.
All right, so look, all you producers that's got those little $400 and $500 budgets, you can still holler at me. We'll talk.
Y'all better holler at them. Y'all better holler at them. Yeah, and for the fans, viewers, listeners, we appreciate the time. Shout out to Mr. Walker and KUAW Radio. And next week, we'll holler at you again. Welcome to Scrilltown. We out.
Scrilltown.
I think I talked too much.
No, you was good.
Okay.
You was good. Yeah, you was good. I like that. You know what I'm saying? We had a good vibe.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah, but I really